All right, you can go ahead and get started. We're recording this, so we can always reuse the content later as well, even if there's not that many people here listening live.
Perfect. Yeah, I love to hear it. It's good to be efficient with your content creation. Okay, folks. So I guess let's go ahead and get it started. Welcome to Interchain Books, how Secret Network and Axelar enabled PageDAO to build better on-chain publishing. I'm Tito and Daniel, the founder of PageDAO, and you're joined with me and my co-founder, Robbie Pollock, Indefatigable, who's our lead dev over at PageDAO. So this is going to be our presentation. We'll have a number of different sections that we're going to cover. I'll handle the intro and the challenges, and then Robbie will handle the solution and the vision sections here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get introduced to PageDAO. Who is the PageDAO? This is a pretty good question because there's quite a few of us involved with the project these days. We have started from a very small group back all the way in 2020, consisting just of like basically me, Robbie, and Easy and Crypto. And we kind of had a dream, but we didn't really have all that much shape or definition to give to the dream back then. So over the past couple of years, that is exactly what we've been building. And so now we have a mission, we have clarity, we have technology that we've built. We really have come, quite a long way. And so our mission is to foster enduring innovation and ownership in the digital community, empowering creatives with open tools to shape the future of media consumption. And there are a lot of things that are very important about this. Enduring innovation and ownership is essentially go hand in hand, because people who don't own things don't really have the power to innovate. They aren't able to create as well. And so what we see with the blockchain revolution is that we have this revolution in ownership, and what this does is this actually unburdens innovators, and this enables people to come in and do experiments and create new things. So that's a big deal. And basically with Web 2 and with some of the old closed systems that we have for content specifically, you end up in a situation where there's kind of this walled garden effect, and so people can go and they can write for the Amazon algorithm, or they can do whatever they want in that, and a little bit of success, but in terms of new voices with real actionable important things to say, coming and joining the publishing conversation, what is that it's actually probably harder than it's ever been in the past, at least since we've had all the modern tools that we have to propagate information around. And so the issue is that the publishing system has become less open during the Web 2 sort of era here. And so essentially what we want to do is we want to kind of put creative people back in charge, and build robust tools to curate and sort of empower the ecosystem to just kind of put things out up the flagpole, and if people like them, then they'll be popular, and if they don't, then not so much maybe. But at the end of the day, the question is, how is curation happening? And our argument is that curation should happen via the action of the audience, and not just sort of through an algorithm that nobody has direct control over except for the corporate entity that owns it. So we have a couple of core principles. Number one on this list is decentralization. Essentially, decentralized systems are bread and butter for us. The reason that we're so interested in decentralization is because it makes it possible to set up rules, which can enable, our second two principles of permanent openness. So what you can do is you can actually, in a decentralized system, you can create what's called a locked open sort of framework. And so this is what permissionlessness sort of has to do with, and essentially you also get permanence as well because of the natures of these technologies. So it's really remarkable stuff here. My hat is off to IPFS. My GitHub handle is IPFS Nut. And that's for a reason. I'm just a big fan of the way that they move information around the internet. And then we also have, just this commitment to building open systems that, by definition and by nature are going to preserve free speech and make it possible for people to get their voices out there without necessarily being super popular at the beginning of it or having like an agent to come in and after you or whatever the case may be. It should just be the case that you can go and you can publish your content online and you can take your chances with it and you can run it up and build it that way. So moving on, what are we doing here? Well, in particular, privacy is important because people don't necessarily want to, even if you think about just fiction novels, right? Have you ever read a book that you didn't necessarily want someone else to know that you read? I mean, I certainly have, and I think lots of people do. And at the end of the day, the question is, how do we use public blockchains to efficiently, cost effectively, and permissionlessly move information around? But how do we also make that information able to be private? And this is the question that Secret Network provides the answer to, right? So digital privacy is eroded. Use cases for decentralized privacy need to be reimagined, and welcome to where that is happening. Okay, so let's talk about some use cases. All the way on the right, we've got the birthday card. Only mom can read it. This is kind of my co-founder's favorite talking point. I should probably let him talk about this a little bit, actually. But basically, the idea is that you have a piece of content and you want to share that content with just one person, right? But you still want to use public blockchain rails because it's cost-effective, permissionless, right? So how do you do that? Well, what you need to do is probably encrypt the content, and you need to set it up so that only the person that's intended to access it, has the key to access it. So what we're up to here is really robustly pushing this private key technology to the users who actually need it. And then if we look at annotations, if we look at lending libraries, these are use cases that don't exist in Web 2. So for example, I'm getting my PhD right now. I'm studying neuroscience. I read a lot of articles. Sometimes I annotate those articles. And what do I do with them once they're created? Well, nothing. They just sit on my computer, right? Unless I turn them into a paper, unless I do something else. So like I can't just share the annotated article with someone else. And so being able to do that is literally a new content creation use case. So I can send you an article that I wrote, and you can look at it, cut it up with your red pen, your highlighter, and then you can share your highlighted version of this through the technology that we're creating. And then also lending is just a super important use case. It should be possible to lend content to people. It should be possible for them to pay you a small amount to do that. And so this is a revenue creation use case that we can create with these. We can create with these private key encrypted assets. Okay, so what are the challenges? We've run into quite a few challenges along the way. We began in 2021 in December of that year with the README Books NFT book Minter. And what this piece of technology enabled a user to do is to take a PDF and store that PDF on the Polygon blockchain such that it would be tradable. And this was extremely popular with some of our writers who really are interested in getting their content out there, but they're not necessarily worried about gating access to it. They're not necessarily worried about, earning a ton of revenue from it or whatever the case may be. We couldn't sign J.K. Rowling because she wanted her Harry Potter books to be private, so to speak. Just to throw an example out there. So in order to move forward here and deliver to the people who want to publish on chain the technology that they actually want to use to publish on chain, we have needed to come into the secret network, and we've needed to to leverage the decentralized interchain secured data. This is impossible on most chains. And really, this is the piece of technology that Robbie has been diligently building for the last 3 or 4 months here. So it's probably time for me to go ahead and let the stream go and let Robbie kind of take over the presentation here. But I just wanted to come through and share just one last slide, which is just this PageDAO versus other tools. It's either off chain or it's open for the other guys, right? I mean, nobody really has anything that's on chain that does encryption. So this is new. This is a thing that Secret Network has empowered PageDAO to create. Also, the decentralized storage that we use. I mean, it creates one hash is backed up. It's immutably stored. It's everywhere. So you can't necessarily make the argument that the content is going to disappear with the site the way that you can make that argument with Amazon, or you can make that argument with some of the other even Web3 based tools that I've used personally to publish with. So really the one of the biggest benefits that we can offer is that the content stays regardless of what happens to PageDAO, regardless of what happens to our dev team, anything like that. And essentially, when we're creating the assets like this, we're able to create them in a privacy first way. So they default they default to private, and then if you like, as an author, you can actually make it public from there to read part of. And so it's much more user friendly, and it's more accessible, and it gives people what they actually want. So it's a lot different in terms of in terms of just the experience from the get-go, from the starting jump. And then we've got human-centered versus VC-backed pricing, and really I probably don't need to say just a ton about that, because at the end of the day, if we're doing this on a decentralized platform, on a decentralized network where the users have ownership, it's just going to be different from like a VC back smash and grab type of operation, right? So there's nobody that's going to insist that we do pricing that doesn't work for the market, or try to do like some kind of vested token grant dump or anything like that on this. So all right, I think that kind of gets us to the end of the part that I wanted to do. Robbie, are you with us?
I'm here.
All right. Would you like me to continue running the slideshow, or would you prefer to share your own?
I think it would be fun if you did it, and then I could say the annoying next slide, please.
All right, awesome. You got it.
Next slide, please. Let's see. Maybe I'm better off because I have the demo, or hit refresh.
Yeah, I would not be shocked if you were better off here.
All right. Hopefully everybody can hop in really quick. What is a good presentation without technical difficulties?
What's Web3 without a couple of audio problems?
Exactly. Let's see, where are we? I wanted to show a quick demo of what we've been working on. decentralized confidential computing. I love the term because it wraps so much in it. This is our new minter that we're working on. We're a couple months behind on our dev cycle, only because we're trying to do the best job we possibly can, and not build in anything we have to redo. But we've come a long way using a couple of really cool tools. We're using ThirdWeb's smart contracts that are available across multiple EVMs, Optimism, Polygon, the whole Superchain stack, and allow a user to create a contract that they own and can administer using their own tools outside of PageDAO. The basic creation flow that uses Axelar at the heart of it is as follows. Person logs into our website, they authenticate. When they go to upload a new item, it generates a shared key on the client with the public key of a secret network contract that we deployed. That's based on a dev group called 50way. I'll include links to their things later on. We store the shared key that's created for that content in the contract on secret network, and obviously because it runs in the trusted execution environment and that information is private, that key stays safe. Then we upload the encrypted and public assets associated with the NFT. So that's like the metadata JSON, the image, the preview that we create for the PDF that's interactive. You can see some of those on the link that I dropped in the chat earlier. And then finally, we mint the NFT on the desired chain, and we put a reference to the document ID that's allows someone to, with permission, to retrieve it from secret network. So on the viewing flow, when someone has purchased or been transferred the asset, we do the same thing from PageDAO.org. This could also be another front-end client, so it doesn't have to be PageDAO.org. It could be some, in the future, reader app that wants to give people access to their own libraries. They would just go through a very similar flow using the open tools. We send a JSON web token to the server. We verify the NFT ownership. We create a viewing permit for the secret network contract in order to get the encryption key. Then we download and decrypt the content from IPFS, and we go do an extra step and we re-encrypt the content. This is also kind of like a homegrown version of transform encryption. And it provides an extra stage so that the content, when it gets transferred to the person, is in encrypted form, and when it's stored on locally, it's in encrypted form. It gets decrypted with a session key when they go to view it in the browser. So it makes it pretty much as secure as it could possibly be, including if someone gets access to their PC, the file isn't just sitting there in the cache folder or something. So in order to get the information about the users who have access, we use Axelar to securely send the messages. Right now, our demo works on Polygon, and Axelar's structure is like super robust. It's handling thousands of transactions a day. Most of those transactions are not content-based. They're mostly, people sending USDC across to, Cosmos chains, etc. But in our case, we really want to be able to store this encrypted message, and we're using a call contract function through Axelar. The basic flow, though, with Axelar is it has this really cool gas service contract that lives on Polygon, and it gives back the cost of what that transaction will cost across the entire life cycle of the transaction, which includes the cost of calling the contract on the secret network side. If you have the link to the presentation, there's a little link here that describes more about Axelar, so you can definitely check that out. Right now, the average message time end to end using GMP is about 2 minutes, and 2 to 2.5 minutes, which is pretty fantastic considering even using Gravity Bridge can take up to 5-10 minutes. And so very happy with the performance there. the core part of our system that we're using, and this beautifully designed code base was created by 50way, dev team out of France, and they were also a Secret Network Q1 grant recipient, a Secret Labs grant recipient. A piece of code that it's a COSM contract. It securely stores key value pairs, and it allows for receiving EVM messages that are encrypted with payloads so that the traffic doesn't expose the content when you go to store it from an unsecure network like Polygon or EVM. Really, really nifty tool. We're utilizing it in a modified version of their stack for our NFT-based use case. This link is also here to their stack. It's definitely worth checking out. It's a really beautiful, robust implementation of how to save secure documents using privacy as a service on decentralized confidential computing layers. Okay. Wow, that was pretty much it in a nutshell. I feel like I rushed through it a little bit, but it's the final conclusion is that decentralized privacy first literary content is here. I'm really excited about that for all the reasons that Dylan mentioned earlier. Using Axelar and Secret Network, once we got it working, it's really been a breeze, and it opens up lots of potential for massive use cases for tokenized content across chains. The final thing I'll say is that we've done a lot of research for PageDAO because our primary user base, our potential user base, is everyone who reads books. That includes people who just hold brick and mortar paper books. And we're thinking, what is the flow that will make the most sense for every person in the world? Old, young, crypto native, not crypto native. And so we finally found a solution that I think that using all the tools, using DCC and the support from Secret Network through several hackathons and putting multiple teams together, that we can make this vision a reality. All right, well, is that a good conclusion, Dylan? I feel like it was. I feel like it was. This is the part I guess we'll open up to questions. I also would just maybe talk a little bit about our roadmap. So we're heading towards a beta launch, which is also our late milestone for our Q1 hackathon as we approach Q2, or Q1, grant. And we're hoping to engage a bunch of beta users and ramp up both visibility for decentralized confidential computing as the core of our solution, but also making it clear that the use cases are for everyone, and basically bringing the app that'll make the most users utilize blockchain. We plan on sponsoring fees and allowing the network effects to help keep the system sustainable from an economic perspective, while also making it frictionless for new users to log in, for example, with their social, be able to purchase a book with fiat, all of that behind the scenes stuff, what chain it comes from, what chain is going to, how the data is stored, none of that is going to be a concern for the user. So we spend a lot of effort working on UI and designing those flows. And so we're looking at next year, Q1, the open launch for everyone in the world. So this is like really, really alpha, what we're seeing here. And we have like big name writers that we've lined up that we're cultivating even now. And we have hundreds of writers from across the Web3 space who are already interested in participating in the beta launch. It's very, very exciting to share the power of Secret Network and Axelar with all of those people who have been looking for these tools for a long time. That's probably the last I'll say. Just thank you. Big shout out to the Secret team. They've been awesome. And for everyone who's looking to get started working in this crazy Web3 environment, it can be difficult to know where to plant your feet. And I feel really confident and comfortable with the choices we made to work with Secret Network. And I think that's it. Thank you so much.
God bless you. Oh, it looks like Happy Tinker says, I will contribute to PageDAO. That's awesome. Hey, yeah, wonderful.
Well, if anyone has any questions, you can reach us on the website, on Discord. Good luck to everyone with their hackathons, and keep trying. I guess keep going. Yay! Thanks, Happy Tinker. And we're always around. Yeah, Patrick, thanks for everything.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We appreciate you doing this. We will be uploading this to YouTube, and we'll share it with you guys as well in case you want to share it around your community.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Have a great day, everybody.
Have a good one. Happy building.